What's up, y'all? It's me. It's your boy Asmongold. And I usually don't make serious videos, but some seriously stupid shit happens, and I guess I've got to sometimes. And anyway, what we're going to be talking about today is the social justice warriors of the internet. Okay, and most of these social justice warriors congregate in two places. One is Reddit, and the other one is mostly Tumblr. And they all kind of rally under a few different, I guess you could say, causes. And I think the main one would probably be feminism. The second one would be fat shaming and basically people looking down on other people because they're overweight. And I guess you could say a third one is gender acceptance. And so the first one is the feminism. And it's kind of hard for me to really say how I feel about that because my whole thinking around the social justice warrior psychology and mentality is that it's not necessarily, see, there's a reason why it's called social justice and not justice, in the same way that there's the same differentiation between political correctness and actual correctness. With political correctness, you are saying something because it's correct under social guidelines, not necessarily correct under like just pure factual evidence. Like, there are a lot of people who say that someone is an African American if they're from Haiti, just because all people who appear black are kind of classified as African Americans. One time I saw a thing on TV where it was some what was it, like a senator, or not, I don't think they have senators, but some sort of person in the government in some country in Africa, and they actually called him an African American. This was probably on MSNBC, but I'm not really 100% sure on that. Anyway, so the whole idea of the social justice compared to normal justice is that social justice is not actually about being fair. It's not actually about asserting justice and making things fair, because that's what I think justice is mostly about. It's about making things fair for the most people. Social justice is more about overcompensating for things that, for one reason or another, these group of people think that they are wronged for. And so it's not about basically bringing yourself up to, let me use this example. Okay, up here, this is the normal people, okay? And here's the social justice people. What the social justice people intend to do is bring the normal people down. Whereas what it should be is that the social justice people should be here and they want to bring themselves up. And I think that's a very key element, is that this whole idea of social justice is not necessarily about understanding and kind of coming to any type of a compromise. And I understand why that is. There's a lot of people who are in this social justice, I guess, I don't know, like, universe. And like the whole, I don't know, like, there's, of course, a lot of them talk to each other, and they kind of feed off of each other, and it becomes more and more extreme. And you can see that with a lot of things on the internet now. Another example of this is like conspiracy theories. It's not enough to not like Obama. You have to also think that he's a Muslim Kenyan socialist who was born Kenyan because he was not fucking born in the U.S. That's a fact, okay? Because someone on the internet said that. And I don't know if he was born in the U.S. or not, but I have a pretty good feeling that if the entire Democratic committee came together, they'd probably find somebody who was born in the country, because that's kind of a, I don't know, like an instant out, just an instant sudden death thing. And I would assume that they can kind of, I don't know, get somebody else. But that's not really the point. The point is basically whenever you live in an echo chamber, which is what these people do, is that it allows you to basically become more and more extreme in your opinions. And you can see that with all kinds of people. I see that with gun control people. And on the other side, I also see that with the gun advocacy people who think that all teachers should not have to not have to only take gun safety classes, but should bring a gun to class with them at all times. And so it's two sides of insane. But never forget the fact that both sides are fucking insane. Okay? The and how this ties into the social justice people is that there's there's no real middle ground with these people. They are either, you know, the patriarchy, which is basically this idea that a lot of the feminists have, that men basically control everything. I mean, we have had 46 presidents, they've all been dudes. And so, I mean, they're not completely wrong, but I think that they're kind of wrong. And, as I said, on two sides of the crazy, there are the MRAs, which is like is like the feminists. You could say the feminists are like the Power Rangers, or the MRAs, men's rights activists, are the Power Rangers. And I don't know, whoever the Power Rangers fight, I don't know, who's that weird guy in the movie? I haven't seen the movie for like 15 years, so I can't really remember his name. But anyway, so they basically, it's two sides of something insane. And the MRAs are basically the brony fedora-core neckbeards who think that there's this feminist Illuminati who are actively making plans to destroy their atheist euphoria. And I mean, they're fucking crazy too. And I don't really see why we can't. I mean, this is why I think that a lot of things don't actually happen, is that there's so much emphasis on, it's either my way or the highway. There's no compromise, that it's so hard to ever come to a compromise because nobody wants to compromise. I think I said that like 3 times in a sentence. I hope that made sense. Basically, nobody's willing to reach a middle ground because, as I said, they live in these echo chambers that the internet allows, to where they don't ever have to hear anyone that doesn't have the same opinion that they do. And you see that a lot with the social justice warriors, because there are a lot of arguments that are just obviously like straw man or ad hominem arguments, and it's so very simple that this is fucking stupid, and there's no way this is true, and it probably didn't even happen to begin with, like people's experiences. There's no way this shit happened. Like, I go outside every once in a while, and shit's not like that. It's not like that. And I don't really see why they try and make it out that way. But I think that a lot of this is that these people are socially marginalized in one way or another. Whether it be they have a bad job, they have to deal with people who are assholes all day, and they get to come home and they can just say whatever they want, and there's no one that can really stop them. They are around a lot of people who all think that they're stupid. As I said, in one way, or there's millions of ways. I could spend an hour explaining all of the different ways that they're socially marginalized, but I won't waste your time. And apparently I've already done 8.5 minutes of that, so we'll try and finish this up. Anyway, these people are, in one way or another, socially marginalized, and so instead of trying to kind of bring themselves up, as I said, they're trying to bring the people that they think are oppressing them down. And you can see that a lot, and I think that this all ties into a whole a psychology of this self-helplessness. Because, as I said, the issues that they present are not necessarily issues that they have any control over. It's like, yes, you can take pills and you can become a woman if you're a man. You can absolutely do that, and that's possible. But at the end of the day, you're still biologically a dude, and that's the same thing with being overweight. A lot of the people who are overweight think that this is a genetic condition and they have no control over it. I'm skinny as fuck, and I've tried to gain weight, and it's very hard for me. So I have no doubt that there are fat people who are on the other side of the spectrum who feel the exact same way. However, I do have a thing of creatine here, and I do not take it every day. I could try harder, but I haven't. So you have to always remember that. There's probably always something more that you can do. But how much are you willing to do? And just because you're not willing to do it doesn't mean that it's not possible. Now, the whole thing here with the self-helplessness is also another thing that the people, the social justice warriors, use. One of their terms is called being triggered. Is that triggers me, which basically that makes me mad. And I really don't like the use of this word triggered, because I think in kind of like the real world, you could say the main place that you would learn triggered is whenever you are going through a orientation to work in an insane asylum, because those people do not have control over themselves as an individual. They just if something makes them mad, they can't control themselves. They just flip the fuck out, and that's why you have them in straitjackets and padded rooms. That's kind of fucked up, but hey, I'm an asshole, so here we go. Anyway, the whole thing here with the triggered is that it's this idea, as I said, self-helplessness, is that they are not in control of their emotions. So anything that anyone does, they're not being held accountable for who they are and their actions, because hey, that triggered me, and what the fuck can I do? I have no control over that. It's just, like you pull a trigger to a gun, the gun has no say in it. I guess it could lock up, but it's just basically you pull the trigger and the gun is just, it does whatever you want. So these people are basically helpless and in one way or another being controlled by their emotions. And being controlled, being an emotional person is not necessarily a bad thing, but when you use that to control other people and to basically put down other people's opinions because they upset you, then it becomes a bad thing. And I think that's a big part of it. And as I said before, the second, I kind of talked about the feminism a little bit, and I guess now I'll talk about the fat pride and fat shaming people. I think a lot of these people have a very good point. I think most of the social justice warriors are probably female. I have absolutely no data to prove this, but I think that feminism is pretty much a female concern in a lot of ways, or at least a primarily female concern, because that's who it affects. And being overweight is also looked much more down upon if you're a female than if you're a dude. Like, if you're a guy, I feel that it's a lot more about how much money you make and who you are inside. Most of all, how much money you make, rather than what you look like. However, I did spend about 5 or 6 minutes before I started this video seeing how I looked from every angle, and I put on this jacket, because I always wear this jacket with my videos, so I think I look good in it. And so, I mean, it's not all one way, I'll tell you that. But I think it is primarily a female thing. You look on the, you don't really see any fat female celebrities. I guess Rosie O'Donnell is fat, but she's not exactly someone that you'd look up to. I guess I could think of a couple, but it's very rare. And another example of this is in movies. A lot of actors, male actors, are judged on how well they play a character, but a lot of female actors are judged on how attractive they look. And it's like you can take the Avengers, for example, like Scarlett Johansson, or I don't know, like Halle Berry. Like, Halle Berry is number one known for being hot. Okay, like that's a fact. Not for being a very good actor, which obviously she is. I think she got a couple of awards or something. But anyway, so this whole thing about fat shaming, basically there are these people who, as I said, they live in an echo chamber, and they think that diseases like like high blood pressure, heart disease, this shit ain't real. It's not real, and doctors only say that because they're a product of a fat shaming society. Pretty crazy, huh? As I said, there's no middle ground. And I think that's why, for one, social justice, like I read the Wikipedia page before I did the video, was invented in 1840 by a Jesuit priest or monk, I don't remember which one. And what it had to do with social inequality through money, which is, in my opinion, what it's fucking about. And you can spend all your time thinking about, race, sex, body size, whatever else. But I'll tell you one thing. the people in the private schools that go to the same school as Obama's kids do have a better fucking chance of getting, of let's say, being a millionaire than people that probably go to most of the schools that are the people that are watching this video. It doesn't matter if they're fat, white, black, gay, transsexual, if they think they're otherkin, if they think they're a bird, that doesn't matter. They still have a better chance. If they think they're a dragon, it doesn't matter. They still have a better chance. If they think they're a cat, they probably have an even better chance. And so what it really comes down to is money here. And it really, really bothers me that the whole money problem, the inequality, inequity, I guess you could say, is not only not looked at in the media and in society as much as I think it should, but it's actually considered a four-letter word in whenever you say socialism. Every society has some level of socialism, and if you want to look at the I'm trying to remember, there's an economic term for this. Maybe I'll remember, but basically it judges the wealth disparity between the highest, the richest people and the poorest people, and it basically says what's the disparity between the two. And at this point in time in history, 2013, it is actually higher right now than it has ever been at any time, including the robber baron Gilded Age days. And so you think about that, and I mean, you think about what your opinion on that time is, and then come back to reality today and realize that it's even worse than that. And instead of thinking about that, we're thinking about basically race or something else, or being overweight or not being overweight, or being a male or female. I think a male or female is a big deal, but as I said, the main fucking thing is money, and that's not even addressed. As I said, it's actually like nobody wants to talk about that, and I'm not surprised, because I think the amount of people that own the mainstream media can fit in a kitchen. So big fucking surprise, they don't want to talk about why they are controlling what everybody's thinking. That's not necessarily a hard conclusion to come to. But again, it's the social justice warriors are misdirected in the gender and everything else. And as I said, again, not that these things are not valid, but social justice in its original form was meant to basically keep things fair in terms of money. Like right now, somebody makes $1 billion, somebody else makes $30,000, and the society has this idea that it's because the person who makes $1 billion is more motivated. That's probably true, but that's not the only factor. And I think that's true with a lot of these other situations and causes, is that yes, being a female might be slightly harder to get some jobs, and that sucks. But I think that there's a lot more to it. And as an example, like if your dad, and if you're female and your dad owns a company, you're going to have a lot better chance of getting a job at that company than a guy coming into the job whose dad doesn't own the company. And you got to keep that in mind, because that's what's really important. And the more time that you spend thinking about, I'm a bird, so everybody needs to accept that I'm a bird, and the other kin thing, whatever else, the more time you spend thinking about that, I'm fat, there's nothing I can do about it, it's a fat shaming society, everything else, the more time that you're not spending thinking about what actually matters, what matters the most, not what actually matters, what matters the most, which is money. Think about that and talk about that instead of the other craziness, and maybe things can actually move forward. Probably not, but maybe. That's it. That's all I've got. Leave me a comment, Am I an asshole? Probably. Let me know.